It's the 22nd of April 2026. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studio in Colombo. Bringing you tonight's bulletin for the Newsfirst team. I am Jaima Ratnayakan.
And I'm Umitra Bekon. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Former State Intelligence Chief produced in court under heavy security. Additional Solicitor General informs court that Suresh Saleh is a key force behind the attack and that witnesses are now being influenced. Committee appointed to implement Easter attack presidential and parliamentary commission recommendations. Minister Lal Kanta lodges complaint against TV channel over license violations. President directs 500,000 rupee payments for Ditwa damaged houses by May. Walk for Peace in the Island of Peace begins from Dambulla. Trump says ceasefire will be extended until Iran talks conclude.
On to tonight's top story. Additional Solicitor General Dilip Apiris told the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court today that retired Major General Suresh Saleh, the former director of the State Intelligence Service, had acted as a key driving force behind the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks. He further stated that abductions and assaults targeting journalists had also been carried out by a group that operated under the command of Suresh Saleh.
In connection with the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks, the former Director of State Intelligence, Suresh Saleh, who is the third suspect in the case currently being heard before the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court, was produced before court today while in detention. He was brought under heavy security provided by the Police Special Task Force. During proceedings, Additional Solicitor General Dilip Apiris informed court of the progress of investigations. Statement by Additional Solicitor General Dilip Apiris. Excerpt.
Your Honour, this attack could not have been carried out within Sri Lanka by Muslim extremists in Batiklo or ISIS terrorists or Al-Qaeda operatives without internal support. The third suspect played a central role in enabling this attack. Furthermore, officers attached to the Gilitale army camp who operated under the authority of this third suspect have been arrested in connection with disappearances and assaults involving individuals such as Pragit Eknaligoda, Upali Tendekon and Keith Noya. All these crimes were carried out by a group that functioned under his command.
End of excerpt. The Additional Solicitor General further submitted that the Easter Sunday attacks were the result of long-term planning, executed only after a prolonged preparatory phase. Excerpt.
Your Honour, before the 8th anniversary of Easter attacks is marked, we will ensure that those responsible are brought before justice. After the conclusion of President Maithripala Sirisena's term, a presidential election was held to appoint a new president. During his tenure, a 52-day constitutional crisis occurred, which the Supreme Court later ruled as unconstitutional. Following that Supreme Court judgment, the vandalism of Buddha statues in Mavanala took place. At that time, Gotabaya Rajapaksa was a United States citizen. He applied to renounce that citizenship. On the 25th March 2018, Gotabaya Rajapaksa stated in an interview with the Indian Express that he was prepared to contest the presidential election. All these developments occurred concurrently with events linked to the Easter Sunday attacks.
End of excerpt. The Additional Solicitor General also told court that investigations into the Easter attacks are facing serious obstruction and that witnesses are being intimidated. Excerpt.
Your Honour, obstruction of this investigation has now begun. On the day following the previous court hearing, an intelligence officer visited the residence of a witness. 5 hand grenades and a pistol were later discovered at that house. These weapons were planted at the residence through the STF. Additionally, all 6 dogs at the witness's home were poisoned and killed. Witnesses in this investigation are being continuously harassed by military intelligence. The army is a state institution, yet its intelligence wing is not cooperating with this investigation.
End of excerpt. Further revelations were made by Additional Solicitor General Dilip Apiris regarding the assassination of Joseph Pararajasingham. He informed the court that while in remand custody, former State Minister Pillayan met with Shiny, the brother of Zaharan Hashim, inside prison. According to disclosures made by Azad Maulana to Channel 4, the meeting was carried out with the approval of the third suspect, Suresh Saleh. At this point, the magistrate questioned whether a formal statement had been obtained from Azad Maulana. Responding, Dilip Apiri said that steps are currently being taken to record a statement from Maulana, who is in France via Zoom, coordinated through the French embassy. After considering the submissions, the Colombo Fort magistrate emphasized the gravity of the matter. Statement by the magistrate. Excerpt.
This investigation is not a game. It is an extremely sensitive matter. What is essential is establishing facts beyond reasonable doubt. Pursuing theories or opinions beyond that serves no purpose and will only result in the disappointment of victims. The court is satisfied with the investigations conducted thus far. To review further progress, the case is fixed for the 6th May at 2 p.m. The suspect, who is currently in detention custody, is ordered to be produced before the court on that date.
End of excerpt. The Cabinet has granted approval to appoint a committee of defence experts to implement the recommendations outlined in both the Presidential Commission of Inquiry and the Parliamentary Select Committee reports on the Easter Sunday terror attacks. The decision follows a proposal submitted by the President in his capacity as the Minister of Defence. This expert committee will operate under the direct supervision of the Presidential Secretariat, collaborating with the relevant agencies to ensure the comprehensive execution of the findings.
US President Donald Trump has announced an extension to the ceasefire with Iran, saying that the US military will hold off its planned attack to provide Tehran with more time to put forward a proposal to end the war. According to Trump, this move came at the request of Pakistani mediators.
Without a specific deadline, Trump's statement suggested that the truce's extension is open-ended, at least from the side of the US. The truce was set to expire on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Iran says it has seized 2 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz after 3 vessels were attacked earlier today.
US President Donald Trump said last night that he was extending the ceasefire with Iran indefinitely so its leaders can come up with a unified proposal, but that the US naval blockade will continue. The truce was set to expire today, and Trump had vowed not to extend it. According to Trump, the move comes at the request of Pakistani mediators. Iran did not issue an immediate response to Trump's statement. The semi-official Tasnim news agency said Tehran's position will be officially announced later. Hours before his social media post, Trump had said that he opposed lengthening the truce, warning Iran that time is running out before the US launches a huge attack on its infrastructure. Afterwards, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif expressed gratitude to Trump for agreeing to prolong the truce, saying that Islamabad will continue to push for a negotiated settlement to the conflict. The Pentagon, the US Department of Defense, announced that its military forces boarded a sanctioned ship named the MT Tiffany in the waters of South Asia on Monday night without incident. The Pentagon's statement read, quote, "We will continue to pursue global efforts to enforce maritime law, disrupt illicit networks, and interdict sanctioned vessels that provide material support to Iran, wherever they may be. International waters are not a safe haven for sanctioned ships. The Department of Defense will continue to deny freedom of maneuver to illicit actors and their vessels." End quote. Along with the statement, the US Department of Defense released footage showing military helicopters flying over the tanker and Navy SEALs troops conducting a heliborne boarding operation. Ship tracking data showed the tanker was in the Indian Ocean between Sri Lanka and Indonesia at the time of the operation. The Pentagon described the vessel as stateless, although it has been identified as operating under a Botswana flag. The announcement did not specify the exact location or timing of the boarding. This is the second ship the United States has seized and taken control of since imposing a naval blockade on Iran. According to foreign media, as a response, Iran has attacked 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz this morning, saying its Revolutionary Guard seized 2 of them and further inflaming tensions over the key waterway. In light of the current situation, the United States has taken steps to inspect all vessels entering and leaving Iranian ports. The positions being broadcast on marine traffic for the vessels Euphoria, MSC Francesca and Epaminondas show all 3 cargo ships changed their direction at the time they were reportedly attacked. Iran says it has seized the MSC Francesca and Epaminondas, but it has not commented on the status of the Euphoria. At present, a number of Iranian ships are reportedly under US custody. Meanwhile, Iranian officials say that if the United States carried out new attacks, Iran will also respond by striking pre-identified targets. Advisor to the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Mehdi Mohammadi, stated that conditions cannot be imposed on the defeated side. In a social media post, he added that continuing the blockade operations launched by the US is equivalent to carrying out an attack, and therefore it must be met with a military response. Meanwhile, an expected trip by US Vice President J.D. Vance to Pakistan for a second attempt at peace negotiations with Iran has been put on hold. The delay came after Tehran failed to respond to latest US negotiating positions. Stocks fell and oil prices rose following the development, which raised fears that a diplomatic end to the US-Israeli war on Iran could be moving further out of reach.
The war in the Middle East has boosted demand to move vital cargo through the Panama Canal to such an extent that one vessel carrying liquefied natural gas paid $4 million to skip the line and avoid a wait that can take up to 5 days. A surge in such payments has been recorded since the US-Israeli attacks on Iran began on the 28th of February, which led to the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway for 1/5 of the world's oil and natural gas exports from Gulf countries. To meet fuel demand, Asia's refineries are choosing to buy oil or gas from the United States and ship it through the transoceanic waterway instead of purchasing from Gulf countries who rely on the Strait of Hormuz. Ships transiting the canal book their passage well in advance, and ships without bookings wait an average of 5 days to get through. But there is an auction where last-minute transits can be purchased. The most recent auction included a $4 million bid for an LNG vessel, and in recent weeks, 2 oil tankers exceeded bids of $3 million. Past average auction prices between October and February stood at around $130,000 and rose to $385,000 in March and April. 5% of global maritime trade passes through the Panama Canal, and its main users are the US and China. The route primarily connects the US East Coast with China, South Korea and Japan. In the first half of the 2026 fiscal year, which runs October to September, the Panamanian waterway recorded passage of 6,288 ships, a year-on-year increase of 3.7% according to official figures.
The operations of the Special Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed to investigate all coal-related transactions in Sri Lanka has commenced. The Commission's office has been established within the Colombo-Hulsdorf court complex.
The commission is chaired by Supreme Court Judge Gihan Kulathunga. The other members of the commission are Court of Appeal Judge Aditya Patabendige and High Court Judge Sanjeeva Somaratna. The recording of evidence will commence after the preliminary operations of the commission are concluded.
Meanwhile, during today's media briefing held to announce cabinet decisions, journalists raised questions regarding the coal procurement process.
මේ පාඩුව ජනතාවගේ හිස මතින්ද පියවන්නේ එහෙම නැත්නම් එකට ගන්නා ක්‍රියාමාර්ගය මොනවද පළවෙනි එක සහ ඉදිරියේදී විදුලි කප්පාදුවක් සිදුවීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා මහජන උපයෝගිතා කොමිසම බොහොම පැහැදිලිව කියලා තියෙනවා.
The Public Utilities Commission has clearly stated that the issue arising from the shortfall in electricity generation during the 2025-26 coal procurement period will not be passed on to the public. This position has been made very clear. This is also the government's stance, which has been reiterated by the President and the administration on multiple occasions. We are not prepared to impose the losses arising from the deficiency in electricity generation through coal on the people. That is why agreements have been signed with the relevant suppliers. They are bound by these in the procurement agreement. documents. If the need arises, we can impose fines on them. If the fines imposed are insufficient, we have the ability to take legal action against them. We will take all necessary measures as we are not ready to pass this burden on to the Treasury or to the people. A performance bond valued at $15 million has been entered into, and another compensation of $17 million has been retained. The main aim of the government is to maintain an uninterrupted supply of electricity. We are working towards this. We are looking at different sources now, energy sources that are efficient and cost effective. We are confident in managing the situation without resorting to power cuts.
Journalists also raised several questions regarding the country's cricket administration during the cabinet press briefing held today to announce weekly decisions.
ක්‍රිකට් ආයතනය සම්බන්ධයෙන් ජනාධිපතිවරයා සඳහන් කළා තියෙනවා කියලා ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් ආයතනයේ සභාපතිවරයාට ධූරයෙන් ඉවත් වීම ඉල්ලා අස්වෙන්න කියලා දැනුම් දීලා තියෙනවා සහ ඒ වෙනුවට අතුරු පාලක මණ්ඩලයක් පත් කරලා එහි සභාපතිවරයා විදියට ඊරාන් වික්‍රමරත්න මහත්තයා සමග ජන බලවේගයේ හිටපු ඊරාන් වික්‍රමරත්න මහත්තයා පත් කරන්න නියමිතයි කියලා මුද්‍රිත මාධ්‍ය වාර්තා කළා දුන්නා. මේක තහවුරු කරන්න පුළුවන්ද නැත්නම් මේක අසත්‍යයක්ද?
ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේදී හෝ අපි සාකච්ඡා කළේ නැති බව තමයි මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ. තවම නැහැ.
ඇදිලිවම ජනාධිපතිවරයා ක්‍රිකට් පාලක මණ්ඩලයේ සභාපතිවරයාගෙන් ඉල්ලා අස්වෙන්න කියලා විමසීමක් කරලා නැද්ද?
As far as I know, and according to the information I have, not yet. But as I mentioned before, there is a certain manner in which you perceive the cricket administration. The government's hope is to develop cricket while protecting the love that the people of this country have for the sport. Relevant decisions will be taken at the right moment. I haven't received any information regarding what is being discussed right now.
මට තොරතුරු වාර්තා වෙලා නැහැ.
ඒක බොරුවක් කියලාද ඔබ යලිත් කියන්නේ?
කොයි එකද?
මේ ශාමි වයින් කළා ඉරාන්ව දාන්න හදනවා කියන එක.
ඒ ගැන තවමත්
There have been no official discussions regarding that yet. We are prepared to inform you whenever it is necessary regarding removals or appointments following a formal discussion. As of now, no such matter has been reported to me.
මට වාර්තා වෙලා නැහැ. ඔබට කියන්න නැතුව මම ඉන්නේ කැබිනට් මාධ්‍ය ප්‍රකාශක හැටියට කැබිනට්
spokesperson to present you matters presented to the cabinet and to discuss matters regarding the government. I will present these matters to you to the extent deemed necessary. Thank you very much.
අපි සාකච්ඡා කරපු දේවල් ඔබට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රමාණයට බවසති.
Minister K.D. Lalkantha has lodged a complaint with the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission alleging that a TV channel has been continuously operating in violation of its frequency license conditions. The minister has also forwarded a similar complaint to the Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media.
In his complaint, Minister Lalkantha stated that the television channel had broadcast a news report by distorting and misinterpreting information based on his assets and liabilities declaration submitted to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption under the provisions of the Anti-Corruption Act. According to the minister, the news report was carried out without seeking clarification from him at any stage. He further noted that even after he had informed the channel of his intention to take legal action over reputational damage, the channel continued to air distorted and incorrect reports repeatedly. The minister has alleged that the television channel has seriously violated not only the license issued by the Ministry of Mass Media, but also the broadcast frequency license conditions issued by the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission. In his communication, Minister K.D. Lalkantha has requested the Commission to conduct an investigation into this matter. President Andrew Dissanayake attended a progress review meeting this morning at the Presidential Secretariat to assess the payment of compensation and the provision of new housing for residents whose homes were partially or fully damaged by Cyclone Ditwa.
During the meeting, the President instructed that the government approve compensation of 500,000 rupees for partially damaged houses be disbursed to all eligible beneficiaries before the end of May, except in exceptional circumstances. The progress of assistance provided to residents whose homes were completely destroyed was also reviewed. This included support through the allocation of new houses or the payment of 5 million rupees to enable affected families to purchase a house. Officials were instructed to ensure that these compensation payments are processed without delay. Discussions were also held on the relocation of individuals currently residing in camps to temporary housing until permanent housing solutions are provided. The meeting emphasized the need to identify suitable locations and to take necessary steps to complete this process at the earliest. Attention was further given to the relocation of families living in high-risk areas to safer locations. Progress was also reviewed on plans to construct housing complexes for families who have not opted to receive compensation to purchase a new house.
The walk for peace in the island of peace commenced from the Rangiri Dambulla Rajamahavihara this morning. Held at the request of President Anukumara Dissanayake, this peace walk began in an atmosphere of spiritual reflection and devotion. The Maharaja Media Network is the official media and coordination partner for the Sri Lankan chapter of the Global Walk for Peace.
The Walk for Peace in the Island of Peace commenced this morning from the historic Rangiri Dambulla Rajamahavihara. Prior to the start of the walk, Venerable Panyakara Thera of Vietnam, along with the Mahasangha and the famous service dog Aloka, engaged in religious observances at the Rangiri Dambulla Rajamahavihara. The Walk for Peace began today with the participation of several ministers and officials, including the Minister of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, and the Deputy Minister of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Gamakadara Dissanayake.
So what is your answer? What makes you come out here this morning? Is it because of peace? Is there anything else? I want you to understand, when you take off your time from work, from families, to come out here, it has to be worth it. And when you go home, when you've been here and when you go home, you have to bring something home, which is peace, happiness. If you cannot bring peace and happiness home after you came out here, then that is not worth it for you to be here. Not just an offering, not just all these flowers, not just the snacks or water. Something more than that is what you need. You have been doing this for a long time, and today, from this time on, I would like to ask you to change this mindset. You have been breathing every second to keep you alive, but seem like you died a long time ago. Why I say that is because you breathe to survive. You're not aware of your breath at all. Because of that reason, without mindfulness, we always react when things happen. When the world throwing lemons and rock and bitter melons at us. When anything happens around us, we react. We react with anger, hatred, delusion. And the more you react, the more you suffer, the more you cannot manage your emotions and your mind. Even though you have learned and listened to a lot of Dhamma talks.
Following the proceedings, the Walk for Peace commenced with the participation of a large crowd. For the midday arms, the Mahasangha proceeded to the Lenadur Panampitiya Mahavidyalaya.
Patayenna lokayage nivenasit patayenna lokanukampa patayenna boho janayage hitasuva pinisa enna Demi kebahagiaan semua makhluk,
mari melangkah dalam kasih sayang.
Datanglah dunia. Walk for the many, walk for the light, to heal the world and end the night.
Today's destination for the global walk of peace in the island of peace is the Matare Aruvihare temple. The walk will once again resume tomorrow, the 23rd of April, from the Matale Alvihare and conclude at the temple of the sacred tooth relic in Kandy. Any devotees who wish to experience this historic event can join along on the route and also witness this meritorious deed.
The conflict in the Middle East has led to the entire world reeling in multiple crises. While these crises unfold, how is our country's opposition responding to these global developments? According to analysts, the problem the opposition in our country is facing is whether to unite or not. Opinions were expressed about that today as well.
SJB parliamentarian S.M. Marika reiterated today that the United National Party would be invited to their May Day rally.
අපි විශේෂයෙන්ම මයි පළවෙනිදා පොය දවසක් නිසා මයි රැලිය පමණකට සීමා කරලා මයි පෙළපාලි පවත්වන්න සංදර්ශන පවත්වන්න අපේ සූදානමක් නැහැ. අපි එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයටත් ආරාධනා කරනවා අපේ මයි රැලියට විශේෂයෙන්ම සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ නායක සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා වුන්ට ආරාධනා කරાવી. දැන් ගම් ඇතුලේ SJB එකේ කට්ටිය සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ කට්ටිය UNP කට්ටිය ඔක්කොම චූන් වෙලා ඉන්නේ. ආණ්ඩුවේ බය ඒකනේ.
Will the UNP attend the SJB rally? This is the response of the party's General Secretary.
එතකොට සජබෙන් ආරාධනාවක් ඇවිල්ලා නැද්ද පුදුමිලට සහභාගී වෙන්න කියලා අපේ දිනේට?
එහෙම තාම නැහැ.
ඒකට සජබ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවානේ.
කවුද සජබෙන් කියලා කියන එක්කෙනා කියන්නකො බලන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා. නෑ ඉතින් එහෙම අපිට එහෙම මේමනේ අපි කඩේ යනවා වගේ නිකන් කරන්න බෑනේ ඕවා. නිකන් පාරේ යන ගමන් කවුරු හරි මයික් එකකට අපි සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයට ආරාධනා කරනවා කියලා කිව්වහම මම කරන්න අමාරුයිනේ නේද?
Former State Minister Premalal Jayasekara, who was taken into custody, has been released on bail following his production before the Nuwara Magistrates Court today.
The court ordered the suspect's release on 25,000 rupees cash bail and a personal bond amounting to 1 million rupees. The magistrate further directed that the suspect's foreign passport be impounded. The court also warned that any attempt to influence witnesses would result in the cancellation of bail conditions. The former state minister was arrested in connection with a complaint alleging that he had threatened an individual by displaying his pistol during an altercation between two groups. The incident reportedly occurred when the suspect was visiting Nuwara with his family members yesterday. The case is scheduled to be taken up again on the 9th of October.
Newsfirst with the people. We go to the village, not just to help, but to rewrite lives. Gammatha, for the people, by the people. Across a new bridge, the path to the future opens for 1,000 children. Gammatha, for the people, by the people.
Sri Lanka's economy showed continued recovery and improved stability in 2025. This is according to the snapshot of the Sri Lankan economy 2025 published earlier this week by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Real GDP growth was recorded at 5% in 2024 and remained at 5% in 2025. Sectoral growth in 2025 included 1.4% in agriculture, 7.8% in industry and 5.3% in services. Nominal GDP increased from 30.1 trillion rupees in 2024 to 32.8 trillion rupees in 2025, while GDP in US dollar terms rose from $99.6 billion US dollars to $108.8 billion US dollars. Per capita GDP improved to $5,003 in 2025 compared to $4,546 in 2024. In the external sector, the trade deficit widened to $7.9 billion. Workers' remittances improved to $6.6 billion, reflecting an 8.1% increase. Gross official reserves stood at $6.1 billion. Private sector credit expanded significantly with credit growth of 25.2% in 2025. Credit to the private sector rose by 2,056 billion rupees compared to 790 billion rupees in the previous year. In the fiscal sector, government revenue increased to 16.7% of GDP in 2025. The budget deficit declined sharply to 2.3% of GDP, down from 6.8%, while the primary surplus improved to 5.4% compared to 2.2% previously. Outstanding central government debt declined to 91.6% of GDP from 95.5%.
Move forward, Sri Lanka.
Tamil Nadu is set to head to the polls tomorrow for the state's Legislative Assembly elections. Tamil Nadu media reports that all preparations for the Legislative Assembly elections to be held tomorrow have been completed as of now.
The Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly elections will elect members to 234 constituencies and will be held from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. This time, 4,023 candidates will contest the assembly elections and 57.3 million voters are eligible to vote in the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly elections. Chief Electoral Officer of Tamil Nadu, Archana Patnaik, announced that 13.02 billion rupees has been allocated for the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly elections this year. Meanwhile, the Election Commission has declared a 48-hour silence period till 6 p.m. tomorrow. The Election Commission has announced that no public meeting or procession could be held during this time. Meanwhile, the Election Commission of India has ordered that all political party executives, party workers and anyone other than the voters of the constituency who are external parties should leave the constituency. 75,064 polling booths have been set up for the election work and all facilities have been arranged. Meanwhile, the first phase of the Legislative Assembly election of the state of West Bengal will begin tomorrow. The second and final phase of the election will be held on the 29th of April. Accordingly, counting of votes for the Legislative Assembly elections in 5 states, namely Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, Kerala, Assam and West Bengal, will be held on the 4th of May. 23 people have been injured after a bus collided with a tree near a bridge located along the border of Kenya and Mudur. 3 of the injured have been admitted in the Trincomalee Hospital for further treatment, while 20 are receiving treatment at the Mudur Hospital.
A private bus travelling from Trincomalee to Muttur has crashed into a tree near the bridge located along the Kenya-Muttur border. 23 people injured in the incident have been admitted to the Muttur base hospital and 3 of them have been transferred to the Trincomalee hospital. Kenya police is conducting further investigations.
The Sri Lanka women's team won the second ODI against Bangladesh by 4 wickets earlier today.
Batting first in Rajshahi, the Bangladesh women's team were bowled out for a total of 165 runs. Sri Lankan captain Chamariyatapattu spearheaded the attack, taking 3 wickets to her name. Chasing a target of 166, the Sri Lanka women's team reached the target in 38.2 overs, conceding 6 wickets. Harshita Samaravikrama top scored for the Lankans with a half-century, while Chamariyatapattu and Hansima Karunaratne contributed 40 runs each. With this victory, the 3-match series is level at 1-1.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.